All right, here we go. All right, it is Friday. Hello, Anna Navarro.
Oh, that's such fake enthusiasm.
It is very fake enthusiasm. The real enthusiasm is that it's Friday, and these weeks before the election are just so long.
It being Friday means nothing to me at this point.
No, because your life is on
Saturday and
planes
Sunday is going to be full of activity for me this week.
Well, Saturday and Sunday is going to be me sitting on a couch watching football. I do want to get your opinion because it feels like confidence levels swing wildly week to week, depending on who I'm talking to. We are now less than 2 weeks out, almost a week out, week and a half out right now. How are you feeling? Do you feel confident?
I'm tired, but I don't care. You don't understand. This idea of being confident or not being confident is not something I'm thinking about. The only thing I am thinking about for the next 11 days is what can I personally do to help Kamala Harris win and Donald Trump lose? Mm-hmm. And so if that means calling friends, making sure people are registered, bugging people to get out and vote, answering questions about Kamala. I have been traveling, I have been campaigning for her. I've been doing everything I can. I've been getting some of my friends to show up on the campaign trail. So this idea of am I confident or am I not confident? Who cares? Mm-hmm. I'm working.
All right,
that's all I care about.
Well, then, no matter what, you can feel confident that you did everything you could possibly do.
Yeah, I'm going to wake up on November 6th knowing that I did everything I possibly could to get Kamala Harris elected. I don't want to have regrets, and I don't want Americans to have regrets. So let's get to work.
Are you stressed?
Do I look like I'm not stressed? Do I look relaxed to you? Which part of me is giving you Zen vibes right now?
You know what would have helped is if you had gone to that Taylor Swift concert. That would have.
Shut up, Brian. De verdad que no puedo contigo hoy. No puedo contigo hoy.
Well, we should bring it up.
Okay, go ahead.
We should bring it up because
actually I do want to bring it up. You know why?
Go ahead.
Because so set it up.
So it was on this podcast sometime last week where you mentioned that you had gotten tickets to the ungettable Taylor Swift concert. They were huge shows in Miami, and that you might not be able to do the show the following Monday. Unfortunately for everyone except me, because I was excited to have the vice presidential nominee here, Tim Walz was booked on the show. And I left it up to you. I want to be clear about this. I didn't say that you couldn't go to see Taylor Swift. I said that you can do whatever you want, but you have to be here at 11 o'clock on Monday to be on TV and interview Tim Walz.
I love how you're covering your ass for the Swifties because you know they're going to come after you.
They already are starting to. But,
okay, well, so I had tickets for the Sunday show. Mm-hmm. She had 3 shows. The reason I want to talk about this is yesterday I was watching CNN and I saw that Harry Enton, I think, who does like statistics and things for CNN, was talking about how her approval rating has dropped precipitously since she endorsed Kamala. I don't know who the hell they are. I don't know who in the hell they are polling.
Right.
I suspect they're not polling 14-year-old girls because I can tell you she had 3 back-to-back sold-out concerts.
In the rain, right?
In the rain in Hard Rock Stadium. Now, Hard Rock Stadium is in the middle of nowhere. You have to drive for like hours to get there in horrible traffic. I'm telling you, it would... so I don't understand how people are saying that they who are they polling? They're polling, like crotchety, people who
I've never heard a Taylor Swift song.
Whose approval is irrelevant.
Correct. Yeah.
She's got sold out concerts in New Orleans. She's got the rest of the tour is sold out.
No, and the tickets are going for incredible amounts of money.
You should buy me one since you made me miss the Miami one.
I did not make you miss the Miami one. I did not. You made a decision because you care about the Walz campaign and the Kamala Harris campaign.
In my deathbed, I'm going to say I regretted not having gone to see Taylor Swift.
I mean, I listen. You are a woman of means and friends. I believe that you can get your own Taylor Swift tickets again. You could go to New Orleans. You could go to Indianapolis.
Is there's dates after the election, right?
Yeah,
I am doing nothing
Canada
until November 5th other than thinking about this election.
Canada comes after. I'm going to Canada for it.
Okay.
Yeah, Toronto.
Maybe you should stay there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right. We talked about how Trump is covered in the media today, and you said that he's held to a different standard. And you brought up Trump amnesia, which I think is a very real thing. I think there's so much coverage, there's so much content, there's so much crazy things that people forget what it was actually like to have him as president. Do you think that everything Trump says should be covered? It's hard. I know. We talk about
How
this
do
all
you
the
not
time.
cover it? So first of all, I completely disagree with this idea that you should not be talking about the things that he says because they're offensive and that you should be talking about policy. Look, I don't live in a bubble in Washington and in New York. I live in Miami and I travel all over the country and I talk to actual voters. I've been doing it for weeks now, okay? I did it for this documentary. So I'm out there talking to real people, not reading statistics, not reading polls, not obsessing about what the Washington Post or the New York Times say. And people tell me that Trump's tone, particularly women, who Kamala Harris needs to come out very strongly for women, his tone and the things he says are very offensive. And so, yes, we need to remind them of who he is and that he is not going to change. And I do feel that there is a difference this year because, look, in 2016, when I came out against Trump and for Hillary Clinton, which took me a while, it wasn't until like the last 2 weeks that I could bring myself to vote for Hillary Clinton. And when I loathed Trump from day one. And when I came out as a Republican, then you could have fit the Republicans who were voting against Trump in a phone booth in 2016. Today, every time I look, there's more and more who are publicly out there. Apparently not Chris Christie, who would like to come on TV and talk about politics, but reserve his opinion on who he's voting for or who would be the best president, as if there's more than two choices. But anyways, nowadays you look and there's former elected officials, there's Congress people, there's former cabinet members, there's people who worked for administrations.
Generals.
These are people who actually work in politics for whom it matters in terms of their profession and their livelihood. And they're out there saying that they're going to vote against Trump. And so if these are the ones we know on top, whose names we know and are public, imagine all the Republicans whose names we don't know and who maybe are closeted Kamala supporters. I think, to me, I don't know the answer of how many that is, but I think Kamala is onto something trying to appeal to those people. And think of just how incredibly difficult it is to try to appeal to the Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party and to the Dick Cheney wing and Mitt Romney wing of the Republican Party. I frankly cannot understand. And it makes me cranky. It irritates me. These, Republicans who have a public platform, who are out there, talking about how bad Trump is, but then, leave it hanging. And I'm talking about people like Mitch McConnell. This week we saw that he's coming out with a biography. He says horrible things about Trump, but Mitch McConnell endorsed the guy. Nikki Haley, every time she gets asked, she, gives him some she says something snarky about him. I think she's been waiting for him to call and say, hey, Nikki, let's campaign together. Well, with 10 days to go, guess what, babe? He ain't calling. He ain't calling. And so it's like all of these people who could, I wonder if Trump wins, will they have regrets November 6th?
The thing I hear from a lot of people, Chris Christie said this on the show today, is this idea that people still don't know Kamala Harris. It was a big talking point today.
But they know Donald Trump.
Right.
It's a binary choice, damn it. I've been saying it for months and months and months. You're going to get to know Kamala Harris. Look her up. Look, you want to know Kamala Harris? Go look at her. Sit down and watch a whole rally. Sit down and go watch on YouTube the town halls. Sit down and watch some of the things that she did as senator when she was, conducting hearings, when she was questioning Kavanaugh. And, sit down and do that. If you want to get to know Kamala Harris, do some damn homework.
Right.
But, but also, who Donald Trump is. He's a liar. Yes, he's a fascist. He's corrupt. He has no morals. I mean, the things he's done to women throughout his lifetime, he's a racist. And I'm reminding Latinos. So, if people have an issue with that, frankly, I don't care because I'm in no mood to be subtle and I'm in no mood 10 days out to be in gray tones. No, I live my life in black and white.
Speaking of all the people speaking out about Trump, and what he said.
I'm so pissed. I'm like Joey right now.
No, I know. You're actually, you're, I think, beyond Joy, maybe. No, about the same. I wanted to get your take on John Kelly because you weren't here to talk about this. A former 4-star Marine general, a former chief of staff to President Trump, far from, no one could accuse him of being a liberal. Let's put it that way. And he came out swinging against Trump and saying that he fits the definition of fascist. I know you know him. What was your reaction to this?
I know him very well. John Kelly was the commander of Southcom, which is based out of Miami. We spent a lot of time together with his wife, and this was a couple of years after they had lost their son, Robert, who died serving in Afghanistan. So John Kelly, in addition to everything you just said about him, is also a Gold Star family, a Gold Star father. And he is the ultimate soldier, the ultimate Marine. So for John Kelly to come out and say these things is hard because he believes in chain of command. He believes in respecting the commander-in-chief. And though Donald Trump is no longer the commander-in-chief, he was the commander-in-chief who John Kelly reported to, right? So I know this is hard. And I think the reason he's doing it because 2 weeks out, he's seeing that things are 50-50 and he doesn't want to have regrets, right? He doesn't want to wake up because he loves his country, because he loves America. He has spent his entire adult lifetime serving this country and trying to make it better, sacrificing. And, people say the ultimate sacrifice. I would say John Kelly and Karen paid the ultimate sacrifice. Their son died serving this country. And so he's doing it out of patriotism, trying to warn Americans. And because he doesn't want to wake up November 6th with a Donald Trump as commander-in-chief, he knows what that means and say to himself, if I had only said what I knew. That's why he's saying it. And I am sure it was a hard thing for him to do. And something about John Kelly. John Kelly is not one of these Republicans like Bill Barr or John Bolton or all of these folks who wrote books, who, are on TV, who are out there giving paid speeches, monetizing on having worked for Trump and then not. John Kelly has been quiet this entire time. It is very difficult for him to have come out and said this. I am incredibly grateful for him for doing it. And I think America needs to listen.
Now, when I've pointed this out to people in my life that I know are Trump supporters or things like that, I've pointed them to, because I know they're people that respect the military, and I've sent them the articles about what John Kelly said. Their response has been, well, they fired him and he's disgruntled, and that's why he's saying this. And that's what J.D. Vance is saying too. But this is not the kind of guy that would make things up because he was disgruntled in your experience.
First of all, he doesn't get disgruntled. That's just, this is a guy who's made of steel, okay? He's a tough Boston Irish man. He is made of steel. This is about patriotism, plain and simple. And you're not going to change the mind of a Trump supporter. You're just not, right? You can send them anything and everything, and it's not going to change their mind. But that little sliver of undecideds or of those Republicans, I know they're out there because I've spoken to them. Those Republicans who are, like I had such a hard time in 2016 casting the ballot for Hillary, that are struggling with it, it's hard. People don't realize how hard it is when you have grown up in a party your entire life to break away, to be, it feels like an act of disloyalty. It's not. In this case, it's actually an act of ultimate loyalty to country, not to party. And so I think that for some of those Republicans who care about national security, who care about the military, who respect a man like John Kelly, who served 40 years and has 4 stars, I think for them it does make a difference. And I was out on the campaign trail this week. I left here on Monday, went to LA, then I went to Nevada and campaigned, then I went back to LA for this event yesterday. In Nevada, people are, which is a swing state, which is incredibly important.
That went for the Democrats last time.
People were asking me. There were Latinos asking me. I did events and people were talking to me about John Kelly. Some didn't know that his name was John. Some called him Jim. Some called him George. But they knew who he was and what he said. So this idea that talking about Donald Trump as a fascist doesn't mean anything? This idea that, talking about Donald Trump as a felon and highlighting him being out there completely unhinged and talking about Arnold Palmer's package and, and whatever the stupid idiocy du jour is, it may not matter to some people, but it matters to some. And all you need is a sliver of people.
Well, before we go, let's talk about something celebratory. You were honored at the Time Magazine's 2024 Latino Leaders event last night. We talked about this when it got announced. Cha-Cha was with you. How was it?
It was such a wonderful event. I got to see good friends.
You were in great company.
Yeah, I was with George Lopez, who's like who's like a big brother to me.
Yeah.
He really is. I don't see him enough. And we were sitting together. Cha-Cha adores him. Cha-Cha went all around the table from one lap to the other. And it was a very nice dinner. I'm grateful that Time Magazine is highlighting Latinos. This is the second year they do it because, frankly, we are underrepresented in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And it's important to highlight that and allow us to network, to amplify each other's works, to celebrate each other's work, and to ask for equal representation.
Well, it's a well-deserved and prestigious thing, so congratulations on it.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. See, we're happy and good now. All right. Are you back on the campaign trail this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you heading?
Arizona.
All right.
I mean, listen, Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania. There's Latinos in Georgia. There's Latinos in Arizona. There's Latinos in Nevada.
They matter.
And you know what? It's really warm.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how cold it was here when I landed this morning.
Yeah, no, and it's actually
By
not
the way,
that cold
after I landed at 8:30.
Yes.
Which was earlier.
Right, then you would have landed.
Then I would have landed had I gone to Taylor, but I would have landed in a different airport. I landed at JFK.
It's also a Friday, and traffic's not as bad on a Friday. I think Monday would have been tougher.
Well, what I will tell you is that it takes forever to get here. This new building is in a place where not only did the elevator almost kill me today, but it's
you are
it's
turning
far.
into joy. I'm just saying, the building
I am
complaints,
so cranky.
the whole
if this
thing.
campaign doesn't end, I think I'm going to divorce myself.
It's going to end one way or the other. That's it for us this week. Thank you for joining me today.
I think Kamala Harris is going to win.
All right, here we go. See, a prediction.
And I voted for her, and I'm not afraid of saying who I voted for.
Thank you for joining me today, Anna. Check our episode description for the number to call or text us. Have a great weekend. See you next week.